Hey guys, today we are doing 10.4 video notes on one variable statistics. So I want you to pause the video, take a second and read through all of these vocabulary words because you're going to need to know what I am talking about. Pause the video, see you in a second. Hello, welcome back. I hope you were able to read all of the definitions that I just showed you. All right, let's pull up a calculator page because you are definitely going to need your calculator today. So while I do this, you get out your calculator and let's meet back. So basically, these are all the ways that we analyze one variable statistics. What do we mean by one variable statistics? We mean that this is a list of data points and they are talking about something that we're trying to measure, right? So let's look at an example and we'll have a better idea of what this thing wants me to explain. Students in Mr. Okafor's algebra class were trying to determine if people speed along a certain section of a local road. They collected speeds of 20 vehicles. So I'm going to go ahead and underline 20 vehicles because that was the number of things that they examined. That's going to be the number of data points that I'm going to have, and organized it in the table to the right. So look at this table, right? It's saying that one person went 29 miles per hour. So if I kind of wanted to reorganize this in a list, this is what the table is telling me. 2 people went 33 miles an hour. So I'm like, okay. 4 people went 34 miles an hour, so on and so forth. So do you see how this is just kind of a more concise way to represent a really long string of data points? Okay, cool. We call this column the frequency of these data points. So now what I want you to do is put this into a table. And the way you're going to do that is go home. You're going to go to the green data and spreadsheets, or maybe list and spreadsheets, I think it's called. Yeah. And we're going to label this column X. That is the data value. And then we're going to label this column F, R, E, Q, the freak column, because this is going to be the frequency of the data points that are in the X column. Where is the Q? There it is. Okay. So let's go ahead and copy our data list into our calculator. So I got 29, 33, 34, 35. I'll stop saying numbers because I'm probably messing you up. And the frequency of each one of these data points, the number of times it shows up in the list, is going to be in the column to the right. So I got 1. Okay, so now just double check that this number down here, 8, you should have 8 rows from the data. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, I got 8. Okay, I'm good. And then also this frequency column should add up to 20, which is the total number of speeds that you collected. So just double check 3, 4, 7, 12, 15, and 20. Perfect. Okay. So now that you've kind of checked and made sure that you entered everything correctly, because statisticians need to be precise, you're going to go to Menu, 4 for statistics, 1 for stat calculations, 1 for one variable statistics. It asks you how many lists you have. You have one list of data, right? If we wrote it out all in one list, it was just one really long list in green, right? So your X list is going to be your X, and then your frequency list is going to be your frequency list, right? Do you see why we named the columns what we named them? You hit OK. And it's going to say first result column C. That works because I have stuff in column A, I have stuff in column B. Let's put the output of this one variable statistics into column C. So now I got it over here, right? Let's go ahead and write down everything that we see on here. So for the mean, that's going to be our X bar. Mean looks like X bar. And that's going to be 37.3. The maximum, you got to scroll down a little bit for the max. It tells you right here, max X, 75. Quartile 1 is denoted as Q1X on here. 34. The median is the data point that's standing in the middle of the list if I wrote everything out, and that's going to be 35. The minimum is 29, min X 29. Quartile 3 is Q3X. Whoop, that's the wrong spot. 37.5. The mode is the number that comes up the most. You can remember that by MO, mode, MO, most. Oh my gosh, it's not on here. So you have to figure it out manually. This is why the frequency list is super convenient, because you just go and look for the highest frequency. That's the number that came up the most, and that's going to be 35. The range is going to be the max minus the min. So you might need to do some calculation for that. What is the max? 75. What is the min? 29. 46 is my range. The IQR is Q3 minus Q1. That's going to be the middle 50% or the middle spread of the data. So we got Q3, which is 37.5, minus Q1, which is 34. So that's going to be 3.5. Ooh, that's the teeny little IQR. Okay. And then standard deviation to the nearest tenth. So in this class, we look at the sample standard deviation. That is this little SX, and that's going to be 9.1886. And it says that I need to round that to the nearest tenth. So I got, oh, there's only 2 eighths. Sorry. 9.2. All right, and then the outliers. So outliers are found by basically saying, hey, what's the lowest number that's considered an outlier? What's the highest number that's considered an outlier? And the way that you find an outlier is you do 1.5 times the IQR. You figure out what that value is going to be. So 1.5 times the IQR is going to be 1.5 times 3.5, which gives me 5.25. So with that little value, right, you're going to take Q1 minus 5.25 to find the lower boundary to be considered an outlier. So that's going to be Q1 is 34 minus 5.25, and that's going to give you 28.75. So anything lower than 28.75 is going to be considered an outlier. The lowest speed we recorded was 29, so there are no outliers in the lower bound. Let's check for the upper bound. Upper bound is going to be Q3 plus 1.5 times the IQR, which is 5.25, and that's going to be 5.25 plus Q3 is 37.5. So that's going to be 42.75. So anything higher than 42.75 is considered an outlier. So I have one data point here, 75. That is way above 42.75. That person needs a ticket. That is my outlier. So our outlier is going to be the yo-yo that was going 75 miles an hour. What were they doing? And if you want, you can go to the next page and double check all the steps that we went through to calculate one variable statistics. Have a fabulous